Imagine for a moment that God has a plan for your life so grand, so magnificent, that it surpasses anything you have ever dreamed or imagined. Picture the doors He is preparing, the opportunities He is orchestrating, and the level of blessing He is ready to release into your life. Yet, as you stand on the edge of this next season, you may notice some people falling away, some relationships shifting, and some connections that once felt solid beginning to fade. You might wonder why God would allow this, why He would remove people from your life just when it seems you need them most. Today, I want to reveal to you the powerful truth that God is not removing them out of anger, rejection, or neglect. He is doing it because He sees the future that you cannot yet see, and He knows that certain individuals, though well-meaning or familiar, cannot handle the level He is bringing you into. Every removal, every shift, every parting is an intentional act of divine preparation, designed to protect you, to prepare you, and to position you for your next level. As we journey through this message together, I want you to open your heart and mind to the reality that God's timing is perfect. His wisdom is unmatched, and His love for you is relentless. He is calling you to trust Him fully, to embrace the change, and to recognize that every person He allows to leave your path is making room for blessings, opportunities, and relationships that will elevate you to your highest purpose. Stay with me, because by the end of this message, you will see your past, your present, and your future through the lens of God's divine plan, and you will understand that what may have seemed like loss is actually a step into the extraordinary life He has been preparing for you all along. You are about to discover why God removes people from your life, and how His perfect intervention is leading you into a season of greater influence, spiritual alignment, and unstoppable destiny. The journey of life is composed of seasons, divinely orchestrated moments that carry purpose, lessons, and preparation for what is ahead. Every individual in your life has a role, a position that is meant to influence, teach, or support you for a certain span of time. Some people are companions for a season, helping you grow, sharing experiences, or providing comfort, but they are not necessarily meant to stay with you as you ascend into the next level of your calling. God, in His infinite wisdom, sees the entirety of your life, the paths you are yet to walk, the challenges that await, and the heights He has prepared for you. He knows that certain influences, while seemingly supportive in the present, may not be equipped to handle the magnitude of your destiny, the weight of your purpose, or the responsibilities of your next stage. Divine timing ensures that your life unfolds in the precise way it should, where every meeting, every parting, and every relationship serves a greater purpose beyond what the human eye can see. When God begins to prepare you for elevation, it is not merely about promotion in a worldly sense, but a spiritual readiness, a preparation of heart, mind, and soul to operate at a higher frequency of His calling. People who were perfectly suited for your past season may become ill-fitted for the next. Their limitations, their lack of vision, or even their unresolved struggles might create friction, distraction, or delay. This is not a reflection of their worth, but a reflection of divine design. God knows the people who can walk with you into greater heights, and those who cannot withstand the pressure of your growth. Sometimes, the removal is gentle, unseen, and gradual, a quiet parting that leaves you wondering why doors close or relationships drift apart. Other times, the removal is unmistakable, a sudden change that shakes your foundation but reveals the necessity of separation for the sake of your advancement. Recognizing that God is at work in these moments requires spiritual discernment and the humility to trust that His plan is superior to your understanding. You may feel loss, confusion, or even sorrow when someone is removed from your journey, especially when they played a significant role in shaping your past. Yet, in that absence, a new space is created. A space for new relationships, opportunities, and experiences that align perfectly with the level God is calling you into. Every separation is intentional, designed to clear the path of distractions, resistance, or misalignment. God's orchestration of these moments is a demonstration of His love and His desire for your fulfillment in His plan. By releasing those who cannot accompany you, He ensures that your next level is not hindered, that your growth is unimpeded, and that your spiritual journey continues without compromise. Understanding this principle deepens faith, builds resilience, and encourages a perspective that sees divine purpose in every change, every ending, and every transition, affirming that God's timing is perfect and that every person and every season serves a precise role in preparing you for the extraordinary destiny He has designed for your life. Spiritual maturity is a reflection of how deeply a person is aligned with God's purpose, and it determines the capacity to walk faithfully through life's transitions and elevations. Not everyone who journeys alongside you has the ability to embrace the level of growth God has prepared for you as you move toward greater spiritual, emotional, and divine expansion. God discerns those whose hearts, intentions, and faith resonate with the new season and those who do not. People who are spiritually immature or misaligned with your calling may struggle to understand your vision, may feel threatened by your progress, or may unintentionally hinder the divine flow of your life. Their presence may become a source of tension, doubt, or distraction, and God, in His infinite wisdom, knows that their inability to handle your next level could prevent the full manifestation of the plans He has for you. The alignment of hearts is essential because God does not only elevate your circumstances, He elevates your mind, your spirit, and your influence. Those who are not attuned to His frequency may resist, misunderstand, or even criticize the changes taking place in your life, not out of malice, but out of limitation. This is why He removes certain people, allowing you to step into your next phase without compromise, conflict, or compromise of your purpose. Spiritual maturity is not measured by intellect, social status, or personal achievement, but by faith, character, and the ability to embrace God's plan without fear, envy, or resistance. As you grow, God introduces experiences and responsibilities that require wisdom, patience, and discernment. And those who cannot meet the demands of your next level are not left to harm you, but to continue their own journey, while you continue yours. Their removal is an act of divine precision, protecting your trajectory and creating a space for relationships that nurture, uplift, and reflect the level of purpose God is calling you into. You are called to recognize that not everyone who rejoices with you today will be equipped to walk with you tomorrow. And that is part of God's intentional design. This requires a faith that trusts in His understanding rather than your own, knowing that every person He allows to remain in your life at every stage serves a role, and every person He removes is an act of protection and preparation. Understanding spiritual alignment also cultivates discernment in your relationships, teaching you to value connections that encourage growth and to release those that do not support the path God has chosen for you. It is through this alignment that your life becomes a vessel fully prepared for the next level, one that can carry the responsibility, the influence, and the purpose God has designed without the weight of misaligned energies or misplaced expectations. God's removal of those who cannot handle your growth is a testament to His perfect wisdom, ensuring that every step forward is supported, that your faith is strengthened, and that your journey is unhindered by forces that are incompatible with your destiny. By embracing this truth, you begin to see divine purpose in every separation, every challenge, and every relationship shift, recognizing that your progression is sacred, intentional, and protected, and that God's plan for your life requires not only growth, but also discernment in choosing who walks alongside you. As you step into the higher levels of God's plan for your life, protection becomes an essential aspect of His guidance. God, in His infinite wisdom and love, understands that not everyone around you has the heart, the vision, or the spiritual resilience to support the magnitude of your calling. People who cannot handle your next level, whether intentionally or unconsciously, can bring negativity, distraction, or even opposition that could slow your progress or compromise your peace. Their presence, though familiar and sometimes comforting, may carry hidden dangers, jealousy, envy, doubt, or fear that subtly undermine your confidence and faith. God, who sees beyond the present moment, recognizes the potential harm these influences could have on your spiritual journey, and He intervenes by removing them from your path. This removal is not a punishment for them, nor a reflection of your worth. It is an act of divine protection, a shield for your heart, mind, and purpose. When God removes toxic or misaligned influences, He creates a sacred space in your life where His presence can move freely, where your faith can deepen, and where your potential can expand without obstruction. Understanding this requires spiritual discernment, a perspective that sees beyond human reasoning and trusts in God's perfect timing. Often, those who cannot handle your growth may react with criticism, resentment, or attempts to hold you back, not out of malice, but out of limitation. God's protective removal ensures that such forces do not hinder the fulfillment of your destiny or the manifestation of His promises. This divine act is also a lesson in trust, teaching you to lean fully on God rather than on the approval, understanding, or acceptance of others. Your peace and your ability to walk confidently in faith are preserved when God strategically removes harmful influences. Protection in this sense is not only about avoiding negativity, it is about creating an environment where your spiritual, emotional, and mental capacities can flourish. It allows you to cultivate relationships and connections that are aligned with your purpose, those who uplift, encourage, and share in your vision. By removing those who cannot handle your next level, God is not leaving you alone. He is making room for people, opportunities, and experiences that are compatible with the season of life He is ushering you into. This process also strengthens your resilience and discernment, equipping you to recognize influences that are conducive to growth versus those that are destructive. It is a reminder that God's love is not passive but active, constantly at work to safeguard your journey, to maintain the integrity of your calling, and to ensure that every step you take is toward the fulfillment of His perfect plan. Learning to embrace this protective aspect of God's intervention fosters gratitude for the difficult separations, as they are evidence of His care and His desire to see you thrive without compromise. When you internalize this truth, you begin to see that every person removed from your path was a necessary part of your spiritual safety, a divine act that allows you to advance boldly, assured that God is watching over every aspect of your life, guiding you into a place of peace, alignment, and unstoppable purpose. Faith is the anchor that allows you to trust God's plan, even when circumstances seem confusing, painful, or unfair. When God removes people from your life because they cannot handle your next level, it can feel like loss, rejection, or unanswered questions. You may struggle to understand why certain relationships end, why doors close, or why familiar faces are no longer part of your journey. Yet, faith calls you to believe that every change, every separation, and every removal is intentional, orchestrated by a loving God who sees the entirety of your life. Trusting God's plan means acknowledging that His understanding far surpasses your own. What may appear as abandonment or misfortune is, in reality, divine wisdom at work, a protective measure to preserve your growth, peace, and spiritual alignment. This trust requires surrender, a conscious choice to release control and recognize that God knows the trajectory of your life, the challenges you will face, and the heights He intends for you to reach. When faith is exercised in these moments, it transforms confusion into clarity, fear into courage, and disappointment into hope. You begin to understand that God's removals are not arbitrary. They are precise interventions designed to prevent stagnation, distraction, or compromise. People who cannot handle your next level may unintentionally create obstacles, misalign with your purpose, or introduce energies that are incompatible with the season God is bringing you into. Believing that God is removing them for your highest good allows you to maintain peace of mind, to continue walking boldly in your calling, and to embrace the opportunities that lie ahead without hesitation. Faith also teaches patience, as it reminds you that God's timing is perfect. What seems like a delay, a loss, or an interruption is often a preparation period, a time during which your heart, mind, and spirit are being readied to fully receive the blessings and responsibilities of your next level. Trusting God in this process strengthens resilience as you learn to rely on His guidance rather than human understanding or validation. It reinforces the reality that your progress, success, and spiritual growth are not dependent on the presence or absence of certain people, but on your alignment with God's plan and your obedience to His direction. This perspective transforms how you view relationships, opportunities, and even challenges. You start to see that every departure is a redirection, every closure is an opening, and every perceived setback is a step toward your destiny. By embracing faith in God's plan, you cultivate the confidence to move forward without fear, knowing that He has removed obstacles and misaligned influences to ensure that your path remains clear and your purpose unhindered. Trusting in God's wisdom allows you to focus on the people, experiences, and opportunities that are meant to support and elevate you. It fosters gratitude for the lessons learned from past seasons, even when they involved pain, confusion, or disappointment. Ultimately, faith in God's plan transforms your perspective, allowing you to see every removal, every change, and every shift as evidence of His love, His wisdom, and His perfect timing, affirming that your life is guided by a divine hand that knows exactly what you need, when you need it, and why it matters for the fulfillment of your destiny. Change is often uncomfortable, unsettling, and even painful, yet it is one of the most powerful tools God uses to prepare you for the next level of your life. When God removes certain people because they cannot handle your growth, it is not a punishment or a reflection of failure, but a deliberate act to create space for your full potential to be realized. Embracing change requires courage, for it challenges the familiarity of relationships and the comfort of known circumstances. It asks you to trust God even when the familiar faces, routines, and situations that once brought stability are no longer present. The removal of certain individuals is an invitation to step fully into your divine calling without compromise or restraint. It teaches you to rely less on human approval, companionship, or validation, and more on the sufficiency, guidance, and provision of God. By embracing change, you are acknowledging that God's plan is greater than your understanding, and that your life is being aligned with a destiny that surpasses your imagination. Often, the people who cannot handle your next level may unknowingly limit your growth through doubt, distraction, or resistance. Their presence, though sometimes well-meaning, can subtly impose boundaries that keep you from stepping boldly into the opportunities God has prepared. God's intervention removes these barriers so that your faith, purpose, and spiritual development can flourish unimpeded. Learning to embrace change also cultivates a heart of resilience. You develop the capacity to endure seasons of transition, to walk through uncertainty, and to trust that every shift is purposeful. Change becomes less about loss and more about preparation, less about endings and more about openings, less about what is leaving and more about what God is bringing. It teaches you that your identity and worth are anchored not in the approval or presence of others, but in God's design, His promises, and your obedience to His will. Embracing change requires attentiveness to God's voice, a willingness to let go of attachments that no longer serve your purpose, and courage to step into the unknown with faith. It challenges you to see beyond the immediate discomfort and to recognize the divine opportunity in every transition. God removes those who cannot handle your next level because He intends to surround you with people, experiences, and resources that support, inspire, and elevate you. By releasing relationships that are misaligned with your growth, He ensures that your journey forward is unburdened by unnecessary resistance and filled with encouragement, divine connections, and aligned opportunities. Change, when embraced with faith, transforms your perspective on life, relationships, and purpose. It enables you to understand that separations are not rejections, closures are not failures, and disruptions are not denials, but acts of preparation by a loving God. Every shift is a divine lesson in trust, obedience, and courage, teaching you to focus on what is coming rather than what is leaving. The act of embracing change ultimately positions you to fully receive the blessings, responsibilities, and spiritual authority that your next level demands. It allows you to step into your calling with confidence, clarity, and peace, knowing that God's hand is orchestrating every detail of your journey, removing anything that would hinder your progress, and opening doors that align perfectly with His purpose for your life. By seeing change as a divine invitation, you begin to walk boldly, unshaken by what is gone, fully aware that God is creating the exact conditions necessary for your growth, influence, and ultimate fulfillment. God's plan for your life is not just about personal growth. It is about influence, purpose, and impact. When He removes those who cannot handle your next level, He is preparing your environment to maximize the reach and effectiveness of your calling. People who are not aligned with your spiritual trajectory, those whose hearts, intentions, or understanding cannot match the demands of your growth, may inadvertently limit your influence, create conflict, or introduce energies that are incompatible with your next season. God, in His wisdom, sees the future that lies ahead of you and understands that your impact can only expand in an environment of alignment, support, and divine favor. By removing those who cannot handle your elevation, He is clearing the way for relationships, opportunities, and circumstances that are in harmony with your purpose. This act of divine preparation is a demonstration of God's care, foresight, and intentionality. Your influence multiplies when your environment is free from distraction, resistance, or misalignment, allowing your talents, gifts, and spiritual authority to flow unhindered. God's removal of certain individuals is not a reflection of their value, but a recognition that their presence could compromise the fullness of your next level. It is a step that ensures the sustainability of your growth, the integrity of your character, and the effectiveness of your impact. Preparation for greater influence requires discernment and patience, as God positions the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances around you to amplify your calling. Every relationship, connection, and interaction that remains in your life after such removal is strategically placed to support your progress and expand your capacity to affect others positively. Understanding this principle requires a spiritual perspective that sees beyond temporary discomfort and embraces the divine design behind separation. It teaches you to value quality over quantity in your connections, to prioritize alignment over familiarity, and to recognize that your next level demands an ecosystem that nurtures rather than diminishes your potential. When God removes those who cannot handle your growth, He is also inviting you to step fully into your authority and responsibility. Your influence is no longer limited by doubt, opposition, or misalignment, and you can lead, inspire, and impact with clarity, confidence, and purpose. This preparation for greater influence also strengthens your leadership, wisdom, and discernment as you learn to navigate relationships with intention, to recognize divine alignment, and to honor God's timing in every aspect of your journey. The removal of incompatible individuals creates space for mentors, collaborators, supporters, and allies who are equipped to walk with you in faith, vision, and purpose. It ensures that your contributions, your service, and your testimony can reach further, touch more lives, and reflect God's glory more fully. Embracing this truth encourages patience and trust in the process, as you recognize that every transition, every separation, and every act of divine removal is strategically designed to amplify your impact. God's foresight ensures that as you ascend, your influence is multiplied, your purpose is protected, and your journey becomes a testimony of His perfect wisdom, love, and intentionality. By understanding that preparation for greater influence requires the right environment, you can move forward with faith, embrace the changes God orchestrates, and step boldly into the next level He has prepared, confident that every removal and every adjustment in your life is for the expansion, effectiveness, and fulfillment of the destiny He has ordained for you. As we reflect on the journey of God's divine orchestration in our lives, it becomes clear that every change, every separation, and every removal serves a higher purpose. God's wisdom surpasses our understanding, and His love for us is perfect and unfailing. When He removes people from our lives because they cannot handle our next level, it is not a reflection of their worth nor of our value, but a deliberate act of divine alignment. These moments are designed to protect our peace, preserve our focus, and ensure that we are prepared to embrace the fullness of the blessings, responsibilities, and spiritual authority He has destined for us. God's timing is perfect and His plan is flawless. Even when we cannot see the reasons behind these changes, faith calls us to trust, to lean on Him, and to believe that every parting is a necessary step toward our destiny. It is in these times of transition that our faith is strengthened, our character is refined, and our understanding of God's love deepens. We learn to rely not on human validation or companionship, but on His presence, guidance, and provision. The removal of certain individuals creates space in our lives for relationships, opportunities, and circumstances that align perfectly with the season God is bringing us into. It allows us to walk boldly into our next level, unburdened by resistance, misalignment, or distractions, and fully equipped to step into the purpose for which we were created. These experiences teach us resilience, patience, discernment, and the courage to embrace change without fear. They encourage us to see divine purpose in every ending, every closure, and every shift, recognizing that what God allows to leave is replaced with what He has ordained to elevate us. Our influence, our calling, and our impact are multiplied when our environment is aligned with God's plan. We are positioned to fulfill our destiny with clarity, confidence, and unwavering faith. As we accept these truths, we begin to see that God's removals are acts of protection, preparation, and promotion. They are not setbacks, but steps forward into a life of greater purpose and spiritual abundance. We can trust that every adjustment, every transition, and every divine intervention is orchestrated with precision and love. Let us hold fast to this understanding, embracing every season of our lives with gratitude, patience, and trust, knowing that God is constantly working for our good and guiding us toward our next level. May we continue to walk in faith, confident that He is leading us, protecting us, and positioning us for the fulfillment of our destiny. Thank you all for allowing me to share these reflections today. I pray that each of us leaves this gathering encouraged, inspired, and empowered to trust God's timing, embrace His guidance, and step boldly into the next level He has prepared for our lives, knowing that His love, wisdom, and purpose are always working in our favor, and that nothing is wasted in His perfect plan.